see. All right. I was doing a recording of this, and I have to. I just have to. I just have to do it. I just had to do this because listen, there's stuff that I am on board with Trump on. There's stuff that I don't like Trump doing, and I was recording this whole thing and everything, going over this and how I don't like how Trump is lying about some of the stuff going on with Biden. Like I said, Putin had no intention. He said it was called a special operation. Trump denied what he was doing with, when it came to Biden. Okay, so there's no reason to, try and keep talking to Putin, for Biden to keep talking to Putin when he was denying what was happening there in Ukraine. Later on, Putin would say that it was Ukraine that had made terrorist attacks against Ukraine. There is a pattern here with these lies. A pattern. And I know because I do intelligence stuff on things like this. And so, with Putin keeping on lying, he already took Crimea, he's taken Azerbaijan, he's taken other territories, he's taken some parts of Georgia, he's instilled puppet governments in Belarus. He's pretty much taken over Belarus and some other territories. And when you have Putin denying everything that's happening, you can't talk, Biden couldn't talk to Putin. And we made promises after World War II, during the 80s, during the 80s, after the fall of the Iron Curtain, the wall, that we would allow this stuff to happen again. So you got these promises taking place here. Like I said, there's some stuff that Trump is lying about here. And me, I'm for democracy, I'm for freedom and stuff like that, and giving aid to Ukraine, not for other countries so much, but I'm okay with Ukraine and Israel, though. Everyone's going to have their opinions and everything else. But, and of course, Trump, he wants the minerals there. And I think this is where Zelensky said, well, we need your troops. I don't know if he said that. I have not seen this yet, but we're going to go to this, and I got the aftermath.
Conference in the East Room in a little while.
If that comes on,
right after lunch.
We'll pause and go back to that.
And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things.
I wonder if they're still going to have lunch.
We appreciate everybody being here. It's a somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting and we end up with a deal.
He canceled lunch too?
Yeah, somebody said no McDonald's.
Please,
yeah,
like to
no
say
McDonald's.
something.
No, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you
no
for the
Big Macs, no quarter
invitation.
pounders.
And really, I hope that this first document, will be a first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course, the infrastructure or security guarantees. Because for today, I understand what Europe is ready to do, and of course, I want to discuss with you what United States will be ready to do.
The thing is, I don't like how Trump is all of a sudden gone pro-Russian Putin. I don't like that. It pisses me off. It's the wrong way to go. And Putin started this war and everything. And he's taking Crimea and all these other countries are instilled. I mean, look at Georgia too. He has people working over there. He's taking some land of Georgia. He's taking Azerbaijan. He went to Chechnya. And he considers Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania his own countries. Theirs. Including others. Countries like Poland, Romania, and such. So it's like, this is like Hitler. Except for by us giving Ukrainians military aid, they're actually they're fighting. Unlike other countries we've given military equipment to, that's a total failure. At least Ukrainians, they fight. And so, I mean, you got parallels with Hitler and this, with Putin. And Putin, he takes some land, he does it again, he took Crimea, he takes land here, he's just going to keep on doing it. Wait this administration out, do it again, until he eventually gets the whole country. That's the thought process.
And I really count on your strong position to stop Putin. And you said that enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist. But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to, to save our country, our values, our freedom and democracy. And of course, no compromises with the killer about our territories, but it will be later. And of course, what I wanted you.
I think they're going to have to compromise with Putin, whether they like it or not. That's just what I think. I mean, because it's a nuclear superpower country. I mean, they can't really push it. They have to, right? I mean, it's like they shouldn't have to. Like, I agree with Zelensky that Putin is a fucking awful piece of shit. But I can't see how you. I can't see how you can't. He has to get something out of it, right? There's no winning this. Yeah, I don't think that there's a win condition here.
The thing is, there is no winners. The thing is, Putin's already taken land. He's took Crimea. The big island, that was Ukraine's and stuff like that. Putin is going to keep doing this. He has a pattern where he takes over other countries, other land, other countries. He lays off. He thought that Ukraine would be done in a month, at most, or in a couple of weeks, until the people fought back. He thought that the people would welcome him. That didn't happen. They don't want to live under tyranny and dictatorship and everything like that. And I don't like where Trump has called him a dictator and stuff like that. I don't like that. He's not the dictator. And that's what Putin is. He's a dictator. He started this war. He caused this whole thing. These people, you have tens of thousands of civilians that have been killed. Almost 1 million people on each side and everything. And so this is going to get...
Talk about it by phone.
That's
about the drones production. We have very good drones production. I think the best one in the world for today because of the war. Yes, and of course drones, we need very much the air defense. You have the best air defense
drones
in the world.
Have totally
and
changed
you helped us
modern
under
warfare.
Attacks of Russians.
Totally
and I want to speak
things.
how we can exchange the licenses. We're open to share the licenses of all our drones with you, of course, with the United States. And we need licenses for quick production of air defense. Even after the war, we need our nation to be calm, that we are secure. So that's why we need this air shield. And of course, about this, I want to speak about the contingents. I think that France and UK already spoke to you, and we know that Europe is ready, but without the United States, they will not be ready to be as strong as we need. And then the last point, last not least, about exchange, about our people and children. And you know that these crazy Russians, that they stolen 20,000 of children, Ukrainian children. They changed their names, they changed their families, relatives, and now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back, and really, it's a big dream, task, and goal for me, and our warriors. By the way, Mr. President, we released more than 4,000 warriors from Russian prison, but there are thousands more in the prison. I wanted to share with you some images.
Let me go ahead. It seems like we're having a little bit of lag.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm going to go ahead and close this and then reopen it, okay? Give me just a minute. Yeah, because I want to make sure this is the right thing. I'm even going to close, what do you call it? Everything as well, too. So that way we don't have any of these issues going on. I've had this computer on. How long has it been on? So it says, Huh. 32. That's a big number, huh? That's a pretty big number. Keep that shit on. I run it till it drops. That's it. I kill him. And then I get a new one. All right, let me go back.
I want to skip a little bit of that.
How much? Because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas, but we don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists, but that can be unprotected. But still, it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military, and it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So it's something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil, and we have a lot of gas, we have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all
everything
of the things
seems fine so far.
This is the thing. This is one reason why the Russians wanted Ukrainian land. The West wants it also. It's about the land. This is the reason why we're also at this war doing this. Why both sides, because both sides is about the dollar, about, making the money, which I like here. Plus, they have grain, wheat over there that the West needs, that Europe needs. This is what a lot of people don't know, is that they need that food that comes from Ukraine. The Russians need it for their people. So this is one of the most common things of warfare throughout the ages, is who's got the proper land for agriculture, for food, and other resources. Ukraine has that.
It's in great shape.
And long-term security for Ukraine. How does this provide?
I think they're going to have great luck. I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think, we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day, all they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first. I have to make the deal first. I don't worry about security right now. We have to have a deal, because right now, last week, 2,000 soldiers died on both sides.
This is max quality.
2,000. And they're losing 1,000, 2,000, 2,000. And they're losing
now it is
1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week. So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield. And, you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainian soldiers, and we want to be able to stop it.
They're Chinese and
And we
North
want to be
Korean
able
too.
also to spend money on other things. We don't want to, this is a tremendous amount of money. And what the Biden administration did was terrible. They were giving money, but he had no security on the money. Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but they had security. It was in the form of a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But this is an incredible agreement for Ukraine because we have a big investment in their country now, and what they have, very few people have. And we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations, but that we need for our country.
Mr. President.
This allows us to do that.
Mr. President. Will you continue?
I'm sorry.
Sending military aid.
Yes, go ahead, please.
If I can just, yes. In the document, there is one of the very important points. If we speak about business and investment, we never had LNG terminals in Ukraine. This document will open. I mean, the next document, but anyway, here we see in the framework, we see really goodwill for this. LNG terminals for us is very important, and I think for security of European continent. We have the biggest storage, gas storage. We have the biggest in Europe. Yes, yes, and we can use it for LNG. Use it for LNG.
It's funny. It's funny for me to see this because we have MAGA artists, no issues, MAGA show with no issue with raw earth. You're getting mad about this. I've been pro-Ukraine the entire time. You're literally fighting with a ghost. You're mad at me for something I'm not doing. Straight up, like you're mad over nothing. It's not even happening.
And we will do it. And really, we can help Europe because Europe really helped. President Trump said that they made less support, but they are our friends and they are our very supportive partners. They really gave a lot, Mr. President. They did.
They gave a lot, but they gave much less.
No.
Much less.
No. No.
No. Okay.
Oh my God.
President Trump, you have repeatedly called the deal with Ukraine as a historical one.
I think this is the beginning of the end.
And as a president of the United States, you make historical decisions in other issues which affect America and other world. So what place in the world history do you want to take? And do you associate yourself with any famous historical figures?
Yeah, I'd say George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. I would say I'm far superior to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Now, you know I'm only kidding,
full
right?
of
Because
shit.
when I say that, the fake news is going to go wild. They're going to say
You're
he
so full
considers
of it.
himself to be
Oh,
better
God.
than Washington.
Oh, God.
But you never know.
you're so
You never
full
know.
of shit,
I don't compare myself to anybody. I'm here to do a job. We've had a great 35 days or whatever it might be, a month, a little more than a month.
Clip farming?
We've
Yeah.
accomplished tremendous amounts. Not only this,
Yeah,
this
it
would
is
be a
fun.
very great achievement if we could get the war stopped and get them back to normalization. I think that's going to happen. We've had very good talks on both sides, as you know. But I think we've done a very good job, just generally. If you look
Off
at
your
all
phone.
of the things we've done in 30 days, they're saying there's never been a opening for a president. The first month, there's never been a first month like we've had. And this is one of the very important things. This, to me, is one of the most important things because we have tremendous death taking place as we speak, and I don't want to have that. You know, think of the parents, whether they're in Russia or Ukraine, think of the parents of all these people being killed needlessly.
They came to our territory.
Should have never started. This would have, if I were president, this would have never started.
Yes, it would have happened. It would have happened. Yeah, it would have happened.
Will you continue sending military aid to Ukraine
after the U.S. signs this agreement with Ukraine.
Yeah, we're
And
gonna
the
be
question
continuing.
to President Zelensky: do you feel like the U.S. is on your side? That President Trump is on your side at this moment?
What do you think?
He wants to know, do you think that, sort of a stupid question. I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't.
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning of occupation, and I think that President Trump on our side, and of course, I'm sure that the United States President will not stop support. This is crucial for us. It's important for us. Yes. And Putin, the president, speaks about the people and the soldiers which are dying, but they came to our territory, they came to our land. They began this war, and they have to stop. And I think this is the question, really the most important question. Can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies, to stop Putin, withdraw these enemies, our enemy, withdraw these troops from our land? And I think that you asked about the history, I think that if President, or when, he will stop Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will be on this wall.
We've had very, very good talks.
Yeah, very good talks. Yes.
President Zelensky just said
Right, no,
no compromises with
Vladimir
Putin. I just wanted to ask both of you, firstly, are there compromises that you think that President Zelensky is going to have to make? And President Zelensky, is there anything that you think that you may be able to offer or bring to the table?
I don't see how this ends without compromises, realistically. I don't.
For example, elections.
That's the problem, where Putin, he does this with all the other, including Georgia, country of Georgia, where he'll take some land, back off, and then what he'll do is he'll flood the countries with operatives from Russia to create instability, make things unstable, to get votes to go Russian and stuff like this. I mean, look at Belarus. He took that country. I mean, that puppet government, he has troops that are in armor and everything over there, tanks. He's using that staging ground to flood into Ukraine. And he's taken over other territories already, took Crimea. This is a pattern that Putin has had. He's not going to stop anything. He'll bide his time and then attack again, which he always does. There's a pattern. With Hitler, he just took the territory because nobody was stopping him. This time, Europe, the United States, stopped Putin. The thing is, he doesn't get that aid. It gets overrun. There's a lot of rapes, mass murders that has happened to the Ukrainians. That stuff is just happening with the children, or sex trafficking and stuff like that. But they've had mass, killings of Ukrainian people and everything, just like Hitler did with the Jews.
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but hopefully they won't be as big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all. That's all we can do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have been very hostile, to put it mildly.
Russia invaded, what compromise? The problem is that you're right about everything. Russia is the aggressor. They're the ones in the wrong, and I think that they're the ones who should not get anything out of it. I'm very against that, right? And I think you're right, but I just don't see I don't see how you end it without the compromise period, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't matter like who's right or wrong or like what's good or bad. Like, I just don't see it ending without a compromise. Like, that's just it, right? I mean, I'm just being realistic. That's not what should happen. Don't get it twisted. That's not what should happen.
Right.
They've been very hostile. This has been a vicious war. This has been a vicious war. You know, it's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out, and as I've said many times, we were talking about it with Pete.
Yes.
Many times, the only thing stopping those bullets is a human body. And in the case we're talking about, generally young human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets.
It's an awful spot to be in.
Level.
Yeah.
That's why it's great farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland, but there's very little protection against the bullets that are being, and other things that are being shot. So all I can do is see if I can get everybody at the table and get an agreement. I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
Mr. President, I've got two questions.
I don't know why this is so laggy.
Ultimately, your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led this country into another war and ended foreign wars. And I've got a question.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else.
Is the video?
Second is to save a life.
Right away, I believe Trump got into this too fast. It didn't talk to both sides enough. I believe he jumped the gun. Trump jumped the gun without really talking. And Putin, days ago, like I said earlier, he said that he never talked to Trump about this. And Trump says he's been talking with both these guys, and they say that they haven't so much. So, I mean...
I feel like it's the base video, too.
I consider that to be far less important.
Is Forbes okay?
So I hope I'm going to... Thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. You know, this could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. If this election were lost, if we didn't win this election, and by the way, we won it by a lot. That was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We won everything. The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate. And this was one of the things.
It was a banger, we know that.
Get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war, and that would not have been a good situation. What was your second question?
And my second question for President Zelensky. Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level.
Why are you telling him what to wear? What the fuck you give off telling the world leader what the fuck is that, dude? What an asshole. He looks fine. He looks fine. Why is he going to wear a suit? He has to go back to Ukraine where there's warfare. Why? Oh, no, just,
you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume
what
after this
war
will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something
like yours. Yes. Maybe something better. I don't know. Yeah. We will see. Maybe something.
I think this is kind of an issue that I think Zelensky has a good reason for not wearing a suit, and it's because he does it. Like, the idea is that he's doing it in solidarity of the people that are, like, in like his country that are fighting.
Yeah.
But I think probably the issue is that since he's not really, like, very, like, super proficient with English, it seems, that he's not able to answer that in the question. I think that, like, basically, I think that you could have given an answer to this question that would have made that reporter look like a pretentious asshole. But I don't know if he really was able to do that because of the language difference, right?
Cheaper.
That's stupid ass
requested. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it is requested.
You said yesterday that you have. Are you going to send more?
I would kick that reporter's ass out of there.
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine.
It's not helping.
Hopefully I won't have to send very much because hopefully we're going to have it finished.
Yep.
We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. But
look at him. Do you see what he just did when Trump said he's not interested in sending arms? It's like he said it's like Zelensky. That's the reason why I come here, is for aid. And stuff like that. Want to end the war, but we need aid until we do get, until we get something set in stone for the war to end. We need aid until then, which I'm actually on board with that. I actually am.
Very much.
I mean, we're also making money off of this as well. Let's not pretend. We're giving money, but we're making money. We are, the arms that we give them, we're making money off of that. So we're losing and we're gaining money. How he spends it is he's spending it though. Take all these weapon manufacturers that do Humvees, other Bradley fighting vehicles, Stryker vehicles, other types, and those have to be built. They have to be paid for and stuff. So they're also making money off that too. And there's loans and stuff like that. Let me see.
Appreciate the agreement because we needed.
We're losing money also with it as well. So, yeah.
What they had, and we're treating. Our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started. But
that's wrong. You say that you should. He's attacking him right now. Trump's attacking him, saying pretty much you're like indirectly attacking him. Saying we should have never given him aid. We should have never let this happen. And people are asking why Zelensky doing what he's doing. I'd be pissed. I would have left. I would have said, F you,
Sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that mean you'll provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you say it over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stopped shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably. We have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can.
This is the thing I don't like. He only thinking about money to be made, whether it's the stupid AI thing that he has, which is going to put people out of work and take over everything that people do. As a person that does, videos and writer, I'm a writer as well, and do all different types of videos off of here. And you see AI steals our content, our voices, and even in games that you play, you have a EULA where it can use those voices. And AI could take that, extract people's voices and stuff like that, and use them. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people don't know that when they click OK on these EULAs, TOSs, they have no idea about all their data mining that these companies are doing, including other companies as well. That, and I've been over AI on different other things.
We create a lot of great product in this country,
It's still
So
a
in
law
that
of
sense, you have
people's
something, but
politics.
we
Yeah.
haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back. When this deal ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over. Question. Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you so
Mr. President, thank you. You had both Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved the
And last night, like I said, I don't like where Trump praised a dictator like Starmer, Keir Starmer. He's a real piece of shit kind of guy, a dictator and a thug and everything. Against freedom of speech, he's jailed people over there. People need to look up what Keir Starmer, that guy's.
though re-engaging Russia in diplomatic
I don't
relations.
like where he's praising dictators more than he's praising people more for freedom and stuff.
Something that previous leaders lacked, the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Well, I love this guy. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well,
What
that's
an
why I
ass
like him.
kisser.
One American
He's
News
an
does a
ass
great
kisser.
job. That's very. I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a pathway to peace. It's a pathway to getting something solved. And I feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation to do that. Plus, we're very much involved. We got involved. It's too bad we got involved because there should have been no involvement because there should have been no war. And there shouldn't have been October 7th.
That's a big slap in the face. Saying we should have never helped them. That is fucked up.
Would have never happened. As you know, Iran was broke. They had no money to give to Hezbollah. They had no money to give to Hamas. They were stone cold broke. And then under Biden, they became rich as hell.
And you can see by his facial gestures here, he is very pissed off by what he's hearing. He's very pissed off, and I would too. I'd be pissed off. I say I say fuck this. I'm out of here. I just go try to work with the Europeans. But.
Hell. They went
I've
from
heard that before.
no money to
Yep.
$300 billion in a period of 4 years. And they gave a lot of that money away, and you see what happened. And that's a real mess also that we hope to be able to solve. But no, I appreciate your question very much. I feel I have an obligation to try and do something to stop the death.
That would be good.
If I can answer. Yes, if I can answer.
Please.
Sorry. Please.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
You don't have to. I think he's a great guy, by the way. But I don't know if you two
he's
like
not.
each other. But you know what? I think he's dressed. I think he's
why?
dressed
I like this
beautifully.
guy. I don't know
I think
him.
he's dressed beautifully.
So I have more serious things than answer on such
Yes,
question.
sure, that's
I will
okay.
answer on more serious
That's a good
question
statement.
if I can.
That's good.
Yeah. So please, about security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will not never work because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency, from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke to me.
No, you were the president.
He
You were
never
the
broke-
president
he
during.
never broke to me.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but he had.
He wasn't a president until 2017, right? I mean, because I'm just saying.
Yeah, January
Of course, not with
2017.
you, but he had during those period. He had conversations with our side.
Yeah, I mean, technically,
And we
right?
had Normandy format, the France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia. And he broken 25 times. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire. It will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough. Because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend our land. Today, He knows that we have all the world knows that we have meeting. Yes. Why he's using ballistic? Putin today using ballistic on our hospitals, schools, and etc. Ballistic. So he knows that we are here, and
everybody has the argument how this go to World War III. Those are real bad concerns where there was stuff that I believe Biden was doing. There's some stuff that I believe was crossing a red line and stuff. I believe that they should only do stuff mainly within their own country and stuff like that. Now, some of the air bases that's just outside and stuff like that, I can sort of see that, but I would not want him going outside of the border. But he's done it anyway. He's taking parts of Kursk inside Russia. And it's a very dangerous situation that could go to World War III easily. And I think that Zelensky needs to be more careful sometimes in what he does. Where usually if you don't have nuclear weapons, everything is fair game in war. Everything, well, except for civilians, you know. And Putin likes to kill civilians. He loves killing civilians. He must have a copyright on that. But.
That President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war. And you hear now the president. So why he's using? So he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want. But I hope that we will do it. Really, we'll do it. Security. When we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will not never have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans, because they don't want to divide alliance connection between the United States and the main and strongest ally and Europeans. And this is crucial. This is important. That's what we want to speak about very much. This is very important. And air defense. So air defense, really, we have big deficit with all these systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop, and will go further and further. He doesn't want. He hates us. You know, it's not about me. He hates Ukrainians. He thinks that we are not a nation. He thinks, and he shared these thoughts. I think maybe with.
Well, this is the thing is that Putin wants the other satellite states. He said this in histories. He said it many times, where he views the disintegration of the Soviet satellite states the worst thing that's ever happened. And he wants Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and stuff like that. He wants Romania, Poland, Hungary, stuff like that. So, I mean, he takes that. He just keeps on breaking these agreements. He breaks them, and he just goes laughing like a hyena, pretty much.
Your team also, I don't know. But with all the Europeans, in media, officially and not, he always said that there is no such country, such nation, such language, and such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants.
I haven't never seen an interview with Putin. Is that true? Is that true or not? I'm not sure.
Some of it is.
Destroy us.
Yeah.
You are right, Mr. President. That's 2%. This document, maybe other documents. It's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Should Russia take to rebuild Ukraine?
I think Zelensky makes a really good point. I mean, if Putin already violated agreements 25 times,
he did. He has lots and lots of times.
I mean,
he's not going to stop.
At least 3 times. Yeah, and Trump is saying, well, not while I was the president, which is like, okay, great, but like you're not always going to be the president, right? I mean, unless we have that thing happen. But basically, like,
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I
mixed
don't
chat
believe,
response. No, but that's
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, he had troops massed at the border. You know, when Trump was doing all, he's getting stuff ready to invade Ukraine. Anyways, and then after the Sochi games, you know, they had intelligence satellite photos, had amassing all these troops and everything from Belarus and other countries to, you know, including Russia, to go into Ukraine. That's been there forever. That's, you know, been there since before Obama. You know, he's planned this for decades. You know, ever since the fall of the Berlin Wall, when he worked with East German police, and he did stuff in coordination with the KGB and everything. So this is part of his
fine.
plan
If
with
people
these
want to
countries.
disagree about this, it's fine. I don't have an issue with people disagreeing or whatever.
Mr. President, under these
Should Russia pay to
I asked
build Ukraine?
They have to pay.
this question. He
This
doesn't
is
like
the rule.
because-
This is the rule of
because
the
this-
war. This is the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began, those pay.
Do you agree
This
with
is the rule. Putin began this war. He has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have in Europe, about 300 billions, we can use
Yeah,
that.
he's not wrong.
We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also. We can do it, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
President, under these circumstances, do you envision a trilateral summit with
Because I want
Putin
to
and
know-
President Zelensky?
Wait 1 second.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and
Yes.
Ukraine or on the Ukraine's.
No, I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing. I'm for both. I want to get it solved. And it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else, but I want to get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to see it get solved.
May I follow up? One more question about U.S. troops.
Yeah, I
Look
just,
at his face.
I just
Look
don't
at
see how this gets
Zelensky's
solved
face.
without capitulating to Putin. I don't.
Yeah.
And like, it's very
Yeah.
clear that Biden couldn't solve it because it wasn't solved and he was president for like 2 years while it was happening, right? So like, I don't know what to do, right? I don't know what you could possibly do for this. They have to compromise. Yeah, I feel like they have to as well.
Europe. After Russia.
I don't don't believe in compromise and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm for aid, but yeah, I don't want troops there. I definitely don't. But I believe in giving aid to people that believe in fighting for democracy. There is problems with Ukraine. There is some corruption in Ukraine. I've talked about that before. That there is. You know. But there's corruption in every government. There's corruption in our government. That's not being addressed. I'm not just talking about USAID. But there's a lot. There's corruption there as well. But I do believe in helping out Ukraine. I do. I don't want troops there. I mean, if people want to go there and fight, that's up to them. I tried at one point to go over there myself. And I got sick a couple times and everything, and I didn't know who to get a hold of to go over there, but...
Russian invasion of Ukraine, your predecessor sent additional troops to Eastern Europe.
Well, I also heard that American people that go there and fight, they get second-rate equipment. And the communication with people that go from the U.S. or other countries, yeah, the communication and the weapons are not as good. So there's, I mean, a few that went there from the U.S. and other countries has some good reports, but there are others that were getting some bad not real good equipment, communication failures, with, different headquarters and stuff like that. So,
Europe, including Poland,
you
my
have control.
country.
So.
Are you committed to keeping
Language
the troops
barriers.
on the eastern flank of NATO in the future?
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. They, as you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known. I'm very committed to Poland.
What about Baltics?
Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about the Baltics?
The Baltics, they got a lot of, it's a tough neighborhood too. But we're committed. We're going to be very committed, and we're committed to NATO.
Ooh,
But NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have. And I want to see them equalize, because they are in for far less than we're in, and they should be at least
I've heard
equal.
that before.
You understand that? Why is the
Yeah.
United States, we have an ocean in between. Why is the United States in for so much more money and
Very
other
lucky.
things
Very lucky.
as Europe? With that being said, and as you said, they've also been obviously very helpful. But we have put in far more than they have. And I think they should equalize.
Mr. President,
Yeah, please, go ahead.
about the agreement again today, what changed between the first time that Secretary Bessent gave President Zelensky the agreement and today for the signing?
We made a deal. So
What was the
I'm just-
deciding factor?
I'm a business person. We made a deal. That's what changed.
Capitalist,
I didn't think
yeah.
we were going to make a deal. And we ended up
Money,
making the deal,
money,
so that
money.
changed.
Mr. President, what and how do you envision a trilateral summit with President Zelensky and Putin?
I don't know,
under
but
these
it's, well, they
circumstances?
don't like each other, I can tell you that. Okay? They do not like each other. This is not a love match. And it's unfortunate. That's why you're in this situation.
Yeah, I could have guessed
The
that.
United States
Yeah.
should not have allowed this to happen. Okay? The United States, run by a man that didn't know much. I'm going to be very nice.
Well, he got the aid that he wanted from him. I mean, there's a lot that I can attack Biden on all the time. Just about everything, just about. But Ukraine, I'm not. I mean, oh God, man, there's so much. I don't. Oh my God. He wasn't even making all the choices. I feel, but anyways.
Run by an incompetent person, very incompetent person, should never have allowed this to happen. I've stopped wars. I've stopped many wars. My people will tell you, I
Oh.
stopped wars that nobody ever heard about. I stopped wars before they ever started. You can look at some of, I could give you a lot of nations that would tell you right now they were probably going to war. I could tell you right now there's a nation thinking about going to war on something that nobody in this room has ever even heard about.
Uh-oh.
Two smaller nations, but big, still big.
Oh.
And I
It looked like Zelensky's about to laugh.
Uh-oh.
This should have never happened.
Mr. President.
About sorry, just a second. About any negotiations. First of all, I want really to tell you, and I think that everybody understands that Ukraine, modern Ukrainians, nobody wants to stop this war. But at the future, any negotiations, it's understandable that two sides of the war, not Russia and the United States, because this is not the war between Russia and the United States. This is war of Russia against Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So these two sides will be at the...
Well, it's not just Ukrainians. The thing is that Putin wants the other satellite states. He wants the Baltic states, and he wants Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia as well. So to say that if he just makes it about that, they're not going to care. People are not either. They're going to say, well, you two find it out. And it's actually much bigger than that. This is my experience of what I know. He's taken other countries, taken over other countries already. Or still puppet regimes, government. Put in people in other countries that are sensitive and for Russia in other places like Georgia and in other Eastern Bloc countries. So
anyway will be at the negotiation table. Then, of course, United States, like the strongest partner of the Ukraine, and of course Europe. I think Europe is very important. I want to speak about it with the president. Yes, Europe is very important for us because we really defend Europe for today. All Europeans really recognize that we are defending the line, and they have real life, and our people are dying. That's why they helped us. And also, it's about the NATO. Yes, between, like the president said, you have big, nice ocean. Yes, between us. But if we will not stay, Russia will go further to Baltics and to Poland, by the way. But first to the Baltics. It's understandable for them because they've been in the USSR. You know, they've been one of the republics of the USSR.
That's I think that's the big thing that a lot of people
that's what
are
he needs to drive
worried
home.
about, right?
That's what he needs to drive home in this message, because I know this, and thing is, he needs to drive that as his point, because that is the truth. That Putin, that's his grand plan, to take over the Baltic states as well, other parts of Eastern Europe. So.
Because I think it's obvious the reason why. It's because of fucking Hitler in World War II. So like they're worried that like if they appease Putin, that he's just going to do it again and again and again and again, right? So like that's the concern.
And Putin wants to bring them back to his empire. It's a fact. And when he will go there, if we will not stay, you will fight. Your American soldiers, it doesn't matter, do you have ocean or not, your soldiers will fight.
Mr. President, would you be willing to visit Ukraine, maybe Kyiv or Odessa, which is going to be at the Riviera or Black Sea?
It was my question.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about Odessa now. Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. A lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No.
And a lot of things have to happen.
You have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive, and people work, and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools or online, but we live. Ukraine is fighting and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us. No, he lost 700,000 people, 700,000 soldiers. He lost everything. Yes.
Mr. President, one more.
Please, go ahead.
When did you last speak with President Putin, and what did he say that?
A couple of days ago.
And what did he tell you that gave you the assurance that he wanted peace?
Well, that's what I do. My whole life is deals. I know pretty good, and
I mean, I'm a mind reader, and my psychic abilities tell me that the reason why he was able to reach an agreement with Putin is because he probably was okay with Putin maintaining or like keeping some of the land. That's what my psychic sense tells me.
Yeah,
Now I could be wrong.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
I've known him for a long time. I've dealt with him for a long time. He had to suffer through the Russia hoax. You know, Russia was a hoax. It was all Biden. It was nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
So he had to suffer through that, and he was able to do that. I think that he wants to make a deal, and he'd like to see it end. That's all I do. That's what I do. My whole life, that's what I do, is make deals. And I'm in the middle of a mess, because this is a real mess. It's a very dangerous one. Mm-hmm. If this doesn't get solved now, it's not going to get solved for a long time. So I hope we're going to get it solved. In the back, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prime Minister Starmer claims repeatedly that
somebody says Russia started the war, Russia's losing the war. What kind of sense does it make if they win something from this? It makes sense because they have nuclear weapons. And we can't force them and stop them to do it. That's the reason why. So do we? Okay, well, like, so which one's better, right? Ukraine gives up some land, or we have a nuclear holocaust? We all know what the answer is.
I don't think it's that extreme. I don't myself. I don't. I think that. I mean, the thing is, Putin doesn't care about his own people. He doesn't. And he's going to keep. This is systemic behavior, Putin, where he wants time to back off. He'll take the land. He'll only take an agreement with land, and then he will get time to build up his military again, build things up, do the same thing again, throw millions to their death, make another war just like he took Crimea and everything else. This is systemic behavior of Putin, where he keeps on doing this. So
that's just the truth. It shouldn't be, but it is. That's how I see it. I hope. Now, maybe somebody else has insight that I haven't thought of, but man, it looks bad.
That's one of them. That's one of them.
And again, like, this is coming from somebody, like, I'm very pro-Ukraine. Like, I'm not against them at all. Like, I've been positive towards them the entire time. But I can't see how you can look at this any other way.
His government believes in free speech and
am I crazy?
Censorship. But his country's government arrests people for memes and thought crimes, and even more worrisome is pressuring
here we go.
American companies to censor Americans on his behalf. How can he be a reliable, trustworthy partner when he says things that are demonstrably false?
Well, we actually spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far.
And free speech and
am I crazy? Them and stop them to do it. That's the reason why. So do we. Okay, well, like, so which one's better, right? Ukraine gives up some land, or we have a nuclear holocaust? We all know what the answer is. That's just the truth. It shouldn't be, but it is. That's how I see it. I hope. Now, maybe somebody else has insight that I haven't thought of, but man, it looks bad. And again, like, this is coming from somebody, like, I'm very pro-Ukraine. Like, I'm not against them at all. Like, I've been positive towards them the entire time. But I can't see how you can look at this any other way.
His government believes in free speech and
am I crazy?
Censorship. But his country's government arrests people for memes and thought crimes, and even more worrisome is pressuring
here we go.
American companies to censor Americans on its behalf. How can he be a reliable, trustworthy partner when he says things that are demonstrably false?
Well, we actually spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far. JD was very strong on it. So was I. So was Marco, and we've been speaking to him about it. Marco, would you like to say something about that?
We have concerns, obviously, with the conduct of those, particularly as it impacts Americans. And there's real concern that American speech, which is online.
No, he's completely fucking right. Like, I don't want to have our companies censored globally because of some bullshit EU thought crime law. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Or having us extradited to the EU or UK because, they're dictators over there. And you got people, that are being arrested, for 10 to 15 years for protesting, Muslims that have committed crimes against the native people, native white people in the UK, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, etc. How they've taken over and they just brutalize us and attack us. They're on Twitter. What they're doing, the bad stuff that they're doing to us. There. In the UK, EU, stuff that's happening in Australia, stuff like that, Germany, and everything. Just totally taking over the country, and they attack our native people. That's not okay, and they jail us if we protest for 10 to 15 years. Well, someone that commits murder is only there for about 30 days or less. All these other criminals who committing crimes against us only spend days in jail. Where we get prison time. And if I speak out against somebody else, Starboard wants to extradite people like me, or them and have us jailed. Because they're calling out what the crimes they're doing.
Could fall into the hands of British or any country's
fucking
jurisdiction.
pathetic.
And so this is a point the Vice President made of Munich, and I think
why?
it's a very...
Because you want the actual real truth of why I really believe that? I have very few principles in life, but free speech is one of them. I think it is a core Western principle that dates all the way back to ancient Greece. I think it is the foundation of discourse. It's the foundation of democracy, and it's the foundation of the free marketplace of ideas. And if you don't have that, you don't have anything.
Yeah, you don't have freedoms whatsoever.
I view this as like, if you take away people's freedom of speech, you are taking away their freedom. Like, you're putting their mind in a cage, effectively.
You're locking up in a
box.
box.
I view this as the paramount
personal
box, right.
A compelling one that what unites us with Europe, as much as anything else, is these shared values, and one of them being free speech. And so if Americans are threatened by it, we're going to need to take action in that regard.
Yeah.
It's actually a very important question.
We spoke about this in detail with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, and others at lunch yesterday. And I know that Secretary of Commerce Lutnick followed up in private meetings last night. This is really important. We believe Americans have the right to speak their mind, even if we in this room disagree with them. They have the right to speak their mind in the public square, which is often online these days. And we're going to defend that right as it pertains to American companies and American citizens vigorously if we have to. I do think that under the President's leadership, we're going to find common ground with our friends in the UK on this question, but it remains to be seen. The principle that will guide us is we believe in free speech in this country, and we'll fight for it for American citizens.
Yeah, like, I basically what the First Amendment carves out as free speech is exactly what my opinion on what free speech should be.
It shall not be abridged, shall not be changed.
Pretty much that's it. Right, like that's what my opinion on it is.
Of speech.
I'm not a free speech absolutist. I think that calling for violence and calling for things like that are obviously bad, and that's different. Same as defamation, but in a general sense, that's the way.
Well, the thing is, I mean, this where me and him disagree. All speech is protected, otherwise they would have put an amendment in the Constitution. They would have made amendments for such speech. Keep in mind, you talk about our forefathers would be considered terrorists today. Our forefathers would. They would be considered terrorists and everything. I mean, the stuff, would happen today, they'd be in prison, technology would have caught them, they would have been surveilled. Would have never happened with technology and everything, but all speech is protected. It is. Otherwise, they make an amendment to that. It says it cannot, that these things cannot be abridged. They cannot be changed. That goes with religion. If you have religion, firearms and everything else, they don't have a right to change that. They're not supposed to.
How do you validate that it's American citizen and not a bot with VPN? Oh, I have no idea.
On the deal, is there any other oil and gas component to the deal? Is it all critical?
A little bit. We'll see.
On LNG?
But we're not really looking for that so much. We got a lot. We have more than anybody in the world, by far. So no, we're not talking about it too much, but a little bit. I think it affects also, but for the most part, no.
And sir, is there any agreement from Ukraine to purchase U.S. LNG as part of the deal, or is that on the
So it's about to pop off, right?
We don't need that.
Mr. President, I just wanted to ask you about, you just mentioned that you'd spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
That's a new
Then we go back.
I've spoken to him on numerous occasions.
All right.
Okay. And how was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious with that question?
Here we go.
It went well. I think we're going to have a deal.
On the mineral field, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals
Jesus
if they are
wants
U.S.
that
interest? Would that
money.
be Ukrainian
Money.
The agreement will protect them.
I mean, what did Russia think about the Americans? You know, Russia ain't gonna like Europeans or keep peacekeepers there. They're not gonna like that either. Would they be okay with that? Because they said no to NATO. They said they would, allow that. They're totally against that. Peacekeepers or whatever. So it's because peacekeepers is like NATO anyway. UN is corrupt. So
Agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement.
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in those spots?
I just told you I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder why.
They ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions. Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings. I don't think they're going to survive. Let's go. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Since I already mentioned Poland. Poland was under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as the most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
yeah, I agree. I do.
Well,
agree.
if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned.
He's unfortunately right about this.
He's right. He's totally right. You can't
I mean,
do that.
I don't see how that isn't true.
That's how diplomacy works.
With Putin? I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. He has.
Let me guess. This is the beginning of the crash out?
Yeah.
This?
Yeah. Because he has a right
about to go down. All right. Here we go.
And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of...
This is the thing. The Russian people want nothing to do with this. This is Putin. And Putin derangement syndrome, pretty much, is what it is. Or he wants these satellite states, the Baltic states, he wants them back. This stuff. He's not going to settle. The only way he settles when he dies, probably, and somebody else, I don't know. He's up there in years, too, so, I mean, I don't know how much longer, because this has been his plan. And the Russian people don't like this either. They fought against conscription, forced conscription, where, sergeants, military go out to get, boys, men to fight. There's been fighting over that. Families have been killed. People have been killed for not wanting to fight in this war in Russia, from the Russians, fighting Russians. And then they'd kill them, they'd put them in prison, gulags and stuff. This is Putin's war and his stupid regime. The people don't want it. Russian people are good, Ukrainian people are good. Putin is, it's a problem.
Of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set.
That's
I'm
very
aligned with
diplomatic.
Europe.
Like
I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough.
Yes.
But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I will respond to this. So look.
What I fear is that Zelensky could have mistranslated, that there could be some mistranslation as well. But there's stuff that would offend me and piss me off. I wouldn't have even stayed there. During, let's say, 15, 20 minutes, probably.
For 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words matter more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Here we.
Oh boy. Oh, this is where.
Oh boy. Right. Yep. Oh boy.
I can tell because he's asking somebody else to have the president. So that's why.
Yeah. Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea.
Yeah.
So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014 and
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022.
What he's trying to say is that there's a pattern with Putin and how he's trying to defend himself and say we're not the aggressors. This is Putin that's been doing it, not us. So I think there's some things that are taken a bit wrong, but
the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him. Me, like a new president in 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. There
was a pattern.
Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy.
I think that's a great point.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a pattern. Systemic pattern.
I'll be real. Like it is, because how do you reason with a person that and
that's a social
the problem? Zach doesn't know how this ends, does he? Well, I feel like this is the Zelensky isn't signing anything. Oh no, I did see what the end of it is. Right, I woke up and I saw the beginning of it and everything. Yeah, I mean, how do you reason with a person who keeps lying to you?
Yeah, that's what Hitler did.
Zelensky doesn't want peace? Well, no, what Zelensky is saying is that last time that they went for peace, they didn't get peace either. So he's saying that, like, there's two outcomes. There's we keep the land and, like, we keep fighting against this, or we don't keep the land and then we have to fight against it anyway. That's, like, from his perspective, I think that's what's going on.
And I think that he feels like, of course, what Trump said about Zelensky was wrong about him being a dictator. And you don't call somebody a dictator and invite them to come over. Zelensky is not a dictator. Like I said, there's corruption. There's a corruption with this country, there's corruption in our country, in our governments. You can go to any government, you see corruption of some kind. I can say that Zelensky, I don't know of another leader that could have fought against the Russians so well, other than Zelensky. I do not know any other person. Daylight, night and day. You know, getting this money, you know, getting the weapons to fight. The Russian people don't like this either. You want the Russian people to overthrow the military and everything like that, but the people in power are scared of Putin. He has a lot of ties. Wagner, the guy that was against Putin in Russia, he made a mistake by not going through his little revolt. He's dead now, died in a plane crash. The guy from Wagner Group was a psychopath. He was psycho. So if he would have won, if he would have done something, it'd be a lot worse. I think we've had nuclear war, I believe. Or there would have been carpet bombing of Ukraine. Things would be a lot worse with that guy Wagner Group. I forgot what his name is. But he didn't like where he wasn't getting enough aid from Putin for his troops. Wagner Group in Ukraine. And also, he's dead. Somebody else is going to be on there. They're not getting enough weapons, the Russians are, to fight this. It's just a bloody mess.
Could be wrong.
That's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American
Here we go.
media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to?
Well, they attacked him. They attacked him first. That's the problem. If somebody attacks me and talks shit and says I'm a dictator, I'm going to attack them back. Just like anybody else. You talk shit about somebody that they're to respond, they have a right to respond back in whatever way. So, I mean, you brought this on yourself, too. I mean, now, conscripts, I don't know fully about that, but I do know of different ways of having people go into, like from other countries, they're not conscripts. You go there freely. That's your decision. My decision to go there and fight for them. And then they don't get the best you could. Of course, the Ukrainians, are going to get the best. You know. And there's communication. I talked about this before. Talked with other people about this. So that's nothing new. I mean, and there's a language barrier. Some people don't know the Russian language that Ukrainians use. So you can't go over there and just join the army and think everything, that all of them know English. Not everybody knows English. That's just stupid and ridiculous.
Prevent the destruction of your country.
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning. Sure. First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean.
Which is, to be fair, that is accurate. And we have had recruitment problems with our military as well.
We have the best military.
And don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have
war. Let me listen.
But you have nice ocean. And don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influenced.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right
It's true that he doesn't have the cards, and that is, well, he doesn't have leverage, right?
now, you
And even Trump's influence over the EU has changed. Where parts of the EU wanted to send soldiers into Ukraine to fight. Now, with Trump in office, I don't know how this is happening, but the influence, this is the influence of the U.S. has over the world. How the EU was thinking, some countries in the EU were thinking of sending troops to Ukraine. Nobody wanted that. They didn't want to fight over there. Military aid is one thing, but sending your sons or daughters over there is another. And stuff. At the same time, I would never let Trump or anybody dictate to me how I'm going to fight a war, either. I'll use sticks and stones, I guess. That's it. But what's is done. People do that in some countries. They have no aid from the U.S. or from the EU. They use whatever else is available. That's the reality of warfare. And he doesn't have all the cards. I think he should have more cards. But I don't see Trump as a friend to Ukraine. When I think, this is on Trump. He started this whole thing of calling him a dictator and putting a lot of fault on Ukraine. And now, like I said, there's stuff that I like about Trump and there's stuff that I hate about Trump. I'm not on one political party. I don't belong to any whatsoever. I'm just not. I have more of a brain than
that. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
There isn't a reason to say thank you. There's no reason to say thank you when you've been attacking him and stuff and putting. So there's no reason. I mean, why to be thankful? Just to talk badly of Ukraine? You think I'd be thankful? I'd say F you. I would walk down there the first 20 minutes. 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes. I would have walked out. Because I already know from the beginning. Yesterday, I wouldn't have even agreed to come over to the U.S. because of the rhetoric that Trump was putting out, the anti-Ukrainian stuff that Trump was putting out on Ukraine. This is all over X Twitter. So if I was him, I wouldn't have even met with him until something better was made. I would have just met with the European allies, with Europeans in the UK. I would have done that privately. I wouldn't have done it on camera. Diplomacy, the thing is, you got camera, it's like a WWE match. It's like a WWF, it's like a wrestling match. And stuff is on camera, so you say things differently. I believe that there could be some mistranslation as well with the different languages. But he's got a lot of nerve saying thank you. I would have said F you, I'm out of here. That's me. I would have expected aid. I would have known I wasn't going to get any aid. I would have gone there because I knew something like this was going to happen. It is be a disaster. It was a disaster.
In October, offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I...
You have a damn
Actually,
good chance.
he's not winning, but he's not also losing. He's lost some territory. He's gained some territory in Russia, though. He's gained Kursk. So there is a bit of a lie with that. I have to, both sides here, I have to be both. I have to be truth on this. I have to put truth on this. He's lost some, he's gained some. In Russia, of all places. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that a kick in the head?
Chance of
We are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
The U.S. though was not dealing with it. It's mainly the EU. Then the U.S. came in and started giving aid. It was the EU first that did this and everything. Then he went and asked for aid from the U.S. That's how it started, really. So the thing is, the drones. Saying that was all the U.S., that's BS. It's not the U.S. He innovated his army because he wasn't getting aid. At first, he wasn't getting aid. He had to totally redo his military because he didn't have that much of one. They totally redid warfare with the use of drones. Putin in the West had no idea how drones could be pivotal to warfare until the Ukrainians did what they did with drones. This is what the Ukrainians did and everything else. They changed warfare. And they did that without the help of the EU or the United States. It wasn't the United States that helped with that. Sure, they helped a lot. They did, the United States, but it was mainly the EU until later on, until the last part that became more and more the U.S., but it is mainly the EU. And him and Ukrainians with drones, totally redoing drone technology and everything. Thousands of vehicles with drones that they have and everything.
Say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American
I think JD's being an asshole.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go.
He's being needlessly aggro.
Yes. Those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running low
I know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you
That's
can
wrong
get
of
a
him
ceasefire
to
right
say
now,
that. That's wrong of him to say that. He wants a ceasefire. He doesn't want the war. He's just sick of giving up all his land like he did, with Crimea and stuff. They've already taken large chunks of his land. So it's a lie of what Trump is doing and the others. It's a total lie. And how they're painting this. And I'm going over different sides of this. I'm going over different sides of it. And everything. But I have to say that.
I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a
But
ceasefire.
I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what
That wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with a guy named Biden who was not a smart person. That was,
I wonder.
That's all you do is go into Biden.
Beginning,
what the F is up with that? Stop bringing. That was passed. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. Get things done. Stop, bringing up Biden with all this stuff and everything. You have a hard-on derangement syndrome with Biden, it seems. Just like they have with Trump. It's like that there's these derangement psychological syndromes people have on each other with this. And it needs to stop, really. It really does. With the politics the way it's gotten and everything. Let's move on.
Right. I wonder how many of the conversations actually are like this behind closed doors. Because I bet a lot of them are.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yes and
yeah,
no.
all of them. Yeah, I really do. I wonder.
Yeah. Yes and no.
99%. Yeah. This is the backstage pass. Exactly. Yeah. I'm actually curious.
This is a battle pass. This is a battle pass.
That was
free
with
battle
Obama.
pass.
Excuse
free
me. That
battle
was
pass.
with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful.
Sheets of paper?
Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President.
Like I keep saying, he should have never came. I already knew this was going to happen. I said this was... Oh my God. Oh boy. Especially with what the rhetoric that Trump has put on Zelensky and everything. By a dictator. Over and over. And blaming his regime, his government, his side, and everything. That's not the proper thing. When Putin's laughing his ass off. He's winning. This is a win-win for Putin. He wins either way. Putin wins either way. He's loving it. This is a win for Putin. He'll gladly stop. You know why? Because he needs to rebuild his military. He needs to make more babies over there. He needs to get them at higher level age and stuff like that. Get them ready for next coming, He might wait 4 years. He may not. Putin has this all planned out. He had this planned out decades ago. He said this, Putin said, with the Berlin Wall, he was with the East German police. He said that was the worst thing they ever did is letting these countries sound like countries fall. That should never happen.
It's going to be a tough deal to make because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that
they're not.
It's a heated conversation.
But he's playing to Russia right now.
She's asking what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they break?
I also but if Zelensky is telling the truth, it really isn't a hypothetical,
that's
it's
totally
a pattern.
Stupid. That is so stupid.
I feel like this is a pretty in
They're trying,
general, I think hypotheticals are bad, and they're generally just ways to frame a question to make somebody look good or bad.
I feel
like this is kind of a pattern of behavior.
Conflict. That's what they're there for. That's what ifs can do. It's like do that later on.
I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through.
Here's the problem, though, right? And this is the issue that I wish.
Putin doesn't respect anybody. He doesn't care about anybody. He does what he wants. He doesn't need Trump's permission to do anything. He doesn't. He'll do whatever the F he wants. It's just he knows that if he, thing is, he wasn't going to go into the other countries and try and grab them up because Ukraine was too much of a problem. Much more of a problem than he ever thought. That was Ukrainian ingenuity, innovation, changing warfare with drones that did a lot of this. It wasn't the EU, it wasn't the United States that did it. Trump didn't give him all those javelins either. There are only a few of those, only few. So saying that he gave him all the stuff, that's not true. He gave him only a few javelins, maybe. I don't know. I have proof of that. If he did. I don't. And there's stuff that he makes up and our politicians make up and lie about. So, I mean,
Trump would look at it this way, too, is that like when Trump retires and like after in what is it 2028, right? And Trump's no 2029, technically he won't be the president anymore. Putin will probably still be the president. And maybe somebody else in Russia will be the president instead, and they'll probably be like Putin. That's what I would assume, right? Yes. And so
exactly.
He can't even in his best case scenario, it's a 4-year pause. And like, if you're a Ukrainian, do you really think that that's like, so you're giving up more of your country for a best case scenario of a 4-year pause?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
This going to happen
Putin,
again.
though? Well, I'm time to prepare. Do you think they're going to prepare to fight Russia in 4 years? It's not going to happen. Save lives, bro? No, I think that what makes this interesting is the fact that there aren't any right answers. I don't think that there's a right answer for this. And like for example, there's so that's not entirely true. There's a morally right answer, but that right moral answer I don't think is on the
The thing is that they would have to be ready to fight Putin in another 4 years. They will have to be ready for that. And Putin is going to use his time to bide his time to refill the military, get new troops, get new young boys ready to fight. It's a slaughter. It's a terrible, sick, and disgusting thing.
Table. So, like, because you just assume that's not going to happen, you're basically, like, deciding, like, pick your poison, right? Which problem are you going to try to have? So you give up? Pathetic? Well, I don't know about that.
No.
Is it giving up or not?
Yeah, that's depending on the person.
Right, but what's the alternative? Well, I mean, I think that there's a few alternatives, right? We can keep fighting against Russia through proxy. We can try to negotiate it and have Russia get something so Putin can pull out of the war. I personally think that Putin doesn't want the war in Ukraine to keep going because I think that it personally makes him look bad. I don't know about you guys, but I thought that Russia was going to roll Ukraine over in 2 weeks, and Ukraine fought back in a massively heroic way, and I didn't expect that at all. And I think that even back home, despite the
that wasn't the EU that kept it wasn't the EU, it wasn't the United States, it wasn't Trump, it wasn't Biden, or NATO. At first, it was just the Ukrainians. And the drones and everything else, how they changed warfare and everything. And the EU would only send help if they were willing to fight. The Ukrainians are among the best fighters in the world with how they've been able to keep fighting this. I don't know any equals of this stuff. I don't. It wasn't until later that they got help from the EU. Then it was the U.S. And Biden was reluctant to give any help because of the range of some of these weapons could be used to hit inside Russia. He was reluctant because of World War III. Then he said, fuck it. And that's if it's him that made these decisions or somebody else for him.
Propaganda and everything, I think that it probably does make Putin not look very good, that he hasn't immediately won this war and been able to overtake Ukraine and stop them. I think it probably lost him a lot of confidence with the Russian people. And now I'm just, again, I am making this up, by the way. I'm totally making this up. But I just, that's just what I think is going to happen, right? I don't understand every nuance of this, but I understand people. And I think this is the way that people would behave, and this is the way that people would think. And because of that, I think Putin wants to get out of it as well, because he knows it's probably to some degree a losing proposition, because he's been losing. And and by losing, well, actually, it's not losing. He hasn't been winning, right? And it's taken a bunch of his fucking money. It's made him look bad, but he can't pull out of it without getting something, because then that makes him look even worse. So I think there's a massive optics problem with that as well.
This just might be a war of attrition like it already is. This is going to keep going. This could be a war of attrition, I think. And there's a reason for Zelensky to even talk anymore. Yeah. I would have walked out the first 30 minutes or less. I would have even gone because of what Trump had already said about me. You know, shitting on me. I would have gone because I knew this was going to happen.
That's at least how I see it. Economy's bad too. Russia is definitely not losing.
Well, they are. They are. I mean, let's look. They are losing. They are losing very much. They've gained some ground. Be honest. I have to put both sides here. I have to use both sides. Okay? You have to have Chinese soldiers come in and fight for you, or North Koreans do fighting to help do that, lead them to the slaughter. You're losing the battle. You're losing. And there are reasons why North Koreans are sending their own. They don't want to keep spending money on families and food and everything. Oh my God, North Korea. Oh my God. Oh. And then the Chinese, they sent some of their troops. People can look that up on the internet too. Now, as much ground as they've had, I mean, Donetsk, stuff like that. Zelensky's taken Kursk, taken territory inside Russia too. So both have gained, both have lost. It's crazy. The deciding battle on the Eastern Front between Russia and Germany, the Nazis, was Kursk. The Kursk battle was the deciding battle in World War II on the Eastern Front, where the Russians, the Ukrainians, decimated their mechanized divisions.
And I think that's enough. He lost 100%. Imagine losing your most power on one single invasion of Ukraine. Do you know that Ukraine gave up their nukes in exchange for security assurances?
They did. That was a big mistake.
Here's the thing, is that...
That's a huge mistake.
That's the entire problem, isn't it? It's that...
Yes, it is. Because that was a deterrent. And that's the West's fault. That's the United States' fault. The presidents, all these presidents, because... Then, as I said decades before, they need those as a deterrent. That would have been a deterrent to keep Russia from doing what they did. If they had nukes, this would not have happened. This would have happened. They said bombs away on Russia. It is, you're dead.
So what Zelensky's saying is that if we capitulate and we get a negotiation with Putin, even if what Trump is saying is true, that Putin won't violate that agreement while Trump is president, Trump won't always be president.
That's
so
very right.
It's just going to happen again, even if Trump is right. And that's the best case scenario.
Putin right now is the laughing hyena. He is the laughing hyena. I mean, I'd love to see him watching this in real time. I would love to see Putin. God, I'd pay pay-per-view. I'd pay pay-per-view. I would pay to watch Putin laughing his ass off and say, we just won the war. We just won. We just won. Either way, we won. Win-win. That's pretty terrible.
And so no, he won't. We don't know. We don't know. But what we do know is that it's happened a bunch of times before then. So then what's the alternative? Again, that's what I think makes this very interesting.
To a peace deal. That's
because there is no option that's not bad.
There's no simple answer. There's no good answer.
Does that make sense?
There's no good answer.
There are no good options. There are just different shades of bad and different things that you're going to bet on.
Yes.
That's what I think.
That's true.
Okay, but what is Zelensky's ultimate point in saying that? That we should fight a forever war that potentially ends up
nuclear?
He
didn't say that. He didn't say that. Trump
I think
said
that's
that.
a great argument. That's true.
He didn't
and you're
say
stuck
that.
between a rock and a hard place.
That. Trump did.
Do you capitulate to a person who's broken multiple agreements in the past, or do you continue to escalate things with a nuclear superpower? I don't think there's really a W here. I'm sorry to say.
There's not too much of a win.
A lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony.
Stop your derangement
Joe
of
Biden
this. Dude,
scam.
move on.
Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam, and he had to go through that, and he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom.
This is why you don't have the press there.
And then they said,
oh my God.
the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents.
It's like the Brady Bunch. It's always Marsha. Except for now, it's Russia. It's always Russia. It's always Marsha. Oh my God.
The whole thing was a scam, and he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal.
I see what Trump is saying, but I just think it's a short-sighted perspective.
It is.
I do. I think it's just short-sighted. Because even if he's right, Ukraine is still
focus on the situation
basically,
the
after effects of Crimea are one of the reasons why this is happening, right? Like, it's all happening in the context of that, and that happened before Trump was even talking about running for president. Yeah. So, this is going to be an ongoing thing for, probably decades. At least 10 years, I would say.
I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing.
He doesn't. I would be thankful either. I would be thankful if you've been shitting on me either, call me a dictator or a thug. I would be thankful. I'd give you a middle finger like anybody else would. You talk shit about somebody that I would have even, like I said, I would have even gone to this. Let's go back to the aftermath here. All
So thank you very much. So I just want to say we're going down to Florida. We have a big event tomorrow night, a big MAGA event, Make America Great Again. And it's setting records, and otherwise I'd rather be right now at the White House. But we're doing the big event tomorrow night. We had some big news this week, as you know, because Apple is investing $500 billion. We've done investing a lot of money. Respected again all over the world. If you look, we had the Japanese Prime Minister come, and it's very good feeling. I think our country has really turned around. We're looking for peace. We're not looking for somebody that's going to sign up a strong power and then not make peace because they feel emboldened, and that's what I saw happening. I'm looking for peace. We're not looking to go into a 10-year war and play games. We want peace. And it was just my impression that if we do that, if we sign up, he's looking for something that I'm not looking for. He's looking to go on and fight. We're looking to end the death. 2,000.
That's not fair to say that. He doesn't want that. He's Zelensky, and this is one reason why I would not have gone there, because of the bad mouthing that he's saying on Zelensky and how he's creating disinformation about Zelensky. He didn't want this war. This is Putin's idea. It's something that has to be, people need to remember, because people are being brainwashed by what he's saying. They're being brainwashed. And if you're on a political side, you're being brainwashed. You're not checking facts enough. You're not doing investigating and everything. This is a problem with politics. I hate it and everything. I just like the truth and everything. And people have their opinions, and people maybe not like mine or whatever. That's cool and everything. But I just have to put that out there. I mean, if he's saying bad things about me, I'm not going to even give him Trump the time of day. I'll just go to the Europeans. That's what I would have done in the first place. I would have never even gone to the White House. And say that he disrespected the White House, he was disrespected too. Are you not going to speak up if somebody disrespects you? This is what I say to chat, everybody. If somebody disrespects you, it's your job to answer back. Otherwise, people are going to believe it. People will believe it. And everything. You know, you got to answer back. I mean, there are certain times when you can ignore stuff because people know better. But with this, when you have somebody so powerful as Trump, Zelensky, and Putin, you need to answer back when you've been wrongfully, gaslit. And it's we're in a bad time when Trump is more for dictators like Starmer and Putin instead of what's happening there. I mean,
People died this week, soldiers, more than that, but 2,000 approximately people died this week. Young Ukrainians and Russians. And somebody would say, why do you care about Ukraine and Russian soldiers? I care about them. I care about everybody. And we're not doing that. Now, if we don't do anything, he's going to have to make peace, but he's dealing with a very weak set of cards. If we sign, he's dealing with a very strong set of cards, and then he doesn't want to make peace. So that's where we are. It's very...
That's not true. That's not true. He didn't say that. You did. That's wrong. You say that. He never said that he didn't want peace. He's just sick of giving more land to a psychopath who breaks deals all the time. Over 20 of them. So 10 or 20, so...
Simple. I'm not looking to get into anything protracted. I want immediate peace. President Putin is going to want to make, and he wants to make he wants to end it. And you saw what I saw today. This is a man that wants to get us signed up and keep fighting, and we're not doing that, not for this country. So we're setting a lot of records. Economically, we're setting records.
But you're so gung-ho for Israel, just signing everything off for Israel. I'm not against the Jews. I'm for Israel, though I don't like the carnage that Israel dealt to Gaza. I think they went too far. I think they went way too far on stuff. That's just me, but why give Israel a free hand, a free rein on everything? And,
I think every way we're setting records. One of the best is the right track, wrong track. You saw that. We're on the right track for the first time in over 27 years. People are impressed with that. They have to stand there and say about Putin this, Putin that, all negative things. He's got to say, I want to make peace. I don't want to fight a war any longer. His people are dying. He doesn't have the cards, just so you understand it, okay? I can tell you.
Did you tell Zelensky to leave the White House?
I don't have to tell you that. Go ahead. I think you know the answer to that. What? Wait. Look, I don't trust or distrust anybody. I just want to get a deal done. And if the deal happens, good. But you can't embolden somebody that does not have the cards, and all of a sudden that person says, oh, well, now I can keep fighting. We're not going to keep fighting. You're going to get the war done or let them go and see what happens. Let them fight it out. I want anybody that's going to make peace. If he's capable of making peace, which he may or may not be, but I want somebody that's going to make peace.
I think the thing is that Trump needs to understand is that Putin is a psychopathic liar. And he makes and breaks treaties all the time. And if he doesn't do it, publicly, he does it secretly using special operations. He does it through intelligence operatives to break ceasefires or conditions. He'll organize dissent. He'll organize proxy groups in other countries. He's done this in Africa. Does this in South America. He has Wagner groups in Africa going against, Americans. We have forces in Africa fighting each other and stuff like that. They're not admitting that they're Russian, but they are. And stuff like that. Check out Jeremiah. His name's Jeremiah. He has a channel. He had one video and stuff like that where he fought against, Russian contractors there. Was it Russia or was it South America? But we got forces in Soviet. Russia does stuff like that. And this goes to the pattern of Putin and what he does to destabilize the country. If he doesn't do it through his own military, he'll use contractors or mercenaries. He has mercenaries that he use and stuff like that to do stuff so he doesn't get directly, accused. So it doesn't show his hand. They're going to know it's him. But you can say, oh, that's not me, it's somebody else. And Putin does want the Baltic states back. It's not just Ukraine. It's just that Ukraine was a setback to his grand plan. He totally had to rethink it. And he thought that Ukrainians would be overjoyed and lay down their shovels, their axes, pickaxes, stuff like that. Welcome with open arms. That did not happen. Major miscalculation. Oh, yeah. Let's see. I don't know why Darth Small is on there. Let me see here. Let me see here. Yeah. Yep. This is ITV News. Let me see.
Well, the showdown, which Donald Trump acknowledged was sure to be great television, was obviously watched closely around the world, not least by the friends and foes of its protagonists, who tonight find themselves politically and diplomatically divided.
How many arguments, how many raised voices, how many pointed fingers has the Oval Office seen in the many decades it has been the most powerful office in the world? Well, never like this, where in front of the cameras a foreign leader fighting for the future of his country has refused to be diplomatic and left a president furious and his supporters spitting with outrage.
What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful. And I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top.
In a sign of the deepened...
I hate how politicians grandstand, they put on this act and everything, they get on their soapbox and everything else, and they're totally different when they're off camera. I mean, oh my God. He didn't like this from the get-go, Graham, but I mean, there's stuff that I agree and disagree with him on. This is something I totally disagree with him on.
Definite diplomatic divide between Washington and Europe. Support for the Ukrainian president across the Atlantic was immediate. Dear Ukrainian friends, you are not alone, said Poland's Prime Minister. Dear Vladimir, said Germany's most likely next leader, we stand with Ukraine in good and testing times. We must never confuse aggressor and victim in this terrible war.
Il y a un peuple agressé qui est l'Ukraine.
On a visit to Portugal tonight, President Macron looked forward to a meeting of Europe's leaders in London this weekend. When Ukraine comes under pressure, he said, Europeans must make sure we can provide it with what it needs. Further east, the reaction to what happened in Washington was nothing short of gleeful. The insolent pig finally got a slapdown in the Oval Office, said former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev. And Donald Trump is right, he continued. The Kiev regime is gambling with World War III.
They're loving this. Like I said, I would pay somebody 10 cents. It's a lot of money coming from me. 10 cents is a lot of money. I wouldn't pay that. Pay-per-view. Native price. We'll watch it. We want to see. Because let me tell you, I know Putin's like a hyena. I could just see him in his chair just laughing and everything. Either that or on this. And I mean, this is a win-win. Either way, he wins. You know, so.
In Ukraine, all this comes at the end of a week when Russia's bombardment of its cities has been as intense as ever.
President Zelensky, he was trying only to explain, to provide arguments, you know, and he was in minority in this discussion. There was President Trump, J.D. Vance, the vice president, and he was alone. And he is not native speaker, you know, but despite this, he was defending his country, his people. He has no choice, you know, but to defend us.
Ever since he came to power, America and Europe have been united in their support for this man. In a few tense televised minutes in the White House today, that unity disintegrated, and Europe now faces questions about its security. It hasn't had to answer.
Everybody thought that they were united. No. They would. And JD went too far. He did. I'm glad he's not in office. That's just me. But because he's too extreme on some of his stuff. That's a different video, a different thing. But let's see here. ideology.
The war in Ukraine is now into its 4th year. It has left 750,000 Ukrainians and Russians, military and civilian,
that's
dead.
how much land Russia has gained, including Crimea there. So, I mean, they took Crimea like 10 plus years ago. And then they've been breaking all their, ceasefire, all their agreements and stuff like that.
Or wounded.
American taxpayers have spent more than $100 billion in support of Ukraine. Imtiaz Tayyab is there tonight.
When Ukrainian news channels reported on the volatile exchange at the Oval Office, the war-battered country almost immediately rallied around their leader. Snap online polls found at least 2/3 of Ukrainians supported Zelensky. Over the past week, Russia has fired around 200 drones across Ukraine every night, the largest such attack since the start of the war 3 years ago. A war that came to Nadia Danienkova's family home in the eastern city of Zaporizhia.
This is one thing that I don't like about Putin and his regime. They like targeting citizens. They love blowing up apartment buildings. Not as much as the soldiers as much. Instead of going after military assets all the time, I've seen Putin a lot more go after a civilian part of it. If you can't win them on the battlefield, he'll win at totally blowing up these apartment buildings and innocent civilian areas. And that's
overnight. They luckily weren't at their apartment, but nearly everything they owned was destroyed. I wish he would vanish, this Putin, said Danienkova. He is such scum.
Imtiaz Tayyab joins us now from Kyiv. Imtiaz, the president and vice president said that Volodymyr Zelensky, the president, was not sufficiently grateful. You've spent a lot of time with Ukrainians. What's their view?
Yeah, well, look, I've been covering this war from the very beginning and throughout have spoken to Ukrainians on the front line, lying injured in hospital beds, standing in the ruins of their own homes or at the gravesides of their loved ones. And almost always they've said how grateful they are to the U.S. for their support, how grateful they are to America. A sense of gratitude President Zelensky echoed in a post on X just a short time ago where he thanked.
Yeah, I mean, he's always said that he's grateful. And for, J.D. Vance and dare say it's not thankful, that's complete BS. It's just wrong.
The American people and President Trump.
Imtiaz, after all this, where do the Ukrainians see themselves as standing right now?
Well, of the people we've been speaking to, there's a real sense of shock, confusion, disbelief, and yes, fear. We were speaking earlier on the phone to a well-known Ukrainian journalist shortly after that exchange in the Oval Office, and we caught her while she was grocery shopping, and she said, "You'll have to excuse me, I can't talk because I can't stop crying." And I think it really sums up the mood of so many here in Ukraine, a country which is still being attacked by Russia tonight with the eastern...
Yeah, and for Trump to totally go on Russia's side, it totally played to Putin's hands and everything. And you have all these people fighting for freedom and democracy, and freedom of speech, expression, and freedoms that we're supposed to have and everything. And they totally been shitting on Zelensky and everything. Every government has their problems. And Barbie, I'm really sorry. I missed. I didn't. I missed your comment. I didn't totally get exactly what you're talking about on everything with ideologies and everything. I think you just want to make a statement and everything. But I'm in this here. I think, there's. Let me see. Actually, you know what? Let me see. There's something else here. Let's see here. There's an update on. Okay. That's definitely did not. Let's see. I want to see News Nation.
But your reaction was what, and what are you hearing, I think more importantly, overseas today as well?
The reaction is what? What is this? Why is this happening?
Right.
Is this normal? That's a big reaction also. Specifically, is it normal to have two people from one side attack another person on Ukraine's side?
Meaning Vance and Trump versus...
Right, and it really was a fairly straightforward, especially for a Trump administration, straightforward discussion between two leaders until J.D. Vance
jumped in. Yeah, no, I get that. That's what I thought too when I was watching it. But I'm also curious if some people in Ukraine see this just, I've been using the word practical a lot because it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Do they see this as, from a practical point of view, a strategic mistake or a problem created, making things worse on Zelensky's part? Do they think he hurt himself?
Yeah, I would say after we're in the third, this week is the third anniversary of the war. Things are really raw right now. We were expecting some other people to visit Ukraine. Keith Kellogg just visited last Thursday. He was at the Oval Office today. And things are getting really raw for Ukrainians in speaking with them. I was just in Ukraine a week and a half ago, and then at a major event here in New York City with the mayor's office, different events throughout the country. People are really feeling put upon by the language coming out of the Oval Office and different blogs and podcasters that Ukraine is corrupt, that Ukraine is no good. It wasn't coming out of the White House. That had come down, and we were working towards this agreement.
It did seem like we were setting up for an agreement today. Yeah. After what President Trump especially said yesterday.
Why the hell do they think there was an agreement? I knew that there wasn't going to be an agreement. No, there wasn't. They put up this false hope, this false narrative, false stories, saying, "Oh, we haven't." No, there never was. There never was. This wasn't going to happen. I knew this wasn't going to happen unless Trump was going to give military aid, at least for the minerals, for gas. There's no reason to. It's quid pro quo. You do something for me, I'll do something for you. How stupid are people to think that there's going to be an agreement? There never was an agreement. There never was. So I think it's like, where the hell did they get this stuff? And, you talk about corruption in Ukraine. We have corruption here in our government. And every government has that. And I think, you look at the corruption Ukraine has after the war, when they're fighting for democracy and freedom. You should be given all the power to Russia like you just did. And that was wrong with Trump and how he trash talked him and everything like that. Where do you think it's going to go? And everything. So trash talks you say something bad.
Yeah. His tone, his tune. And so that's why today was surprising.
Yeah, and that was the reaction in Ukraine also. There was a 180-degree difference from the ministers, sorry, I can't use the Ukrainian term, but when the cabinet met and President Trump said, I'm not interested in giving back territory, then he's sitting with Keir Starmer and he says, no, I want to help Ukraine get back territory.
I kind of wonder, though, if Zelensky handled it differently, right? So to your point, okay, let's say Vance starts it, okay, and he gets in there and obviously that angered or triggered, as the kids say, Zelensky, right? So he's like, he got angry for a moment. He says, "You've never even been to Ukraine," and he got worked up about it. If he handled that moment differently, though, could he have at least had himself a deal that would have been the best deal he could make now? Versus now, he leaves with nothing.
Well, it was less accusatory in my mind, more of a question, like, have you been to Ukraine? Knowing that he hadn't been to Ukraine, and that's the number one thing that changes people.
Well, they're accusing him of being a dictator stuff. I'm not gonna. You've never been to Ukraine, I haven't seen it, and like I keep going over, is that
perspective on the war. No, you go to Ukraine.
Yes. Well, he said you ought to be thankful. You ought to be thankful you're even here. It's like, I would be thankful. I'm not going to be thankful to be there. I'm not thankful for you. You're not doing anything for me. You're trash talking me and everything else. And you think, like I said, I wouldn't have even gone to this. I would have left within the first 15 to 30 minutes. I would have never gone to this because it's a sham.
That's true about any.
That's
100% true about any story. That we know there's reporters. It's always better to go places, and because you understand what's actually.
But that also goes along with Vice President Vance's stated political goal. Just in March of last year, he stated that his #1 ambition is to change the U.S. policy towards Ukraine.
Yeah, I know.
That's a political goal, and he was involved in that today.
The problem, though, for Zelensky now is getting what he wants to get. So he wants to get what he calls security guarantees. Let me play this clip real quick. We'll make this the last point. It's not like all the back and forth. This idea of security guarantees is clip number 12, guys, from the Oval Office. Let's listen.
That's why we will never accept just ceasefire. It will not work without security guarantees. Security, when we speak about security guarantees, when
This is, like I said, this is because they keep on breaking the ceasefire agreements. There'd have to be troops or international force there. He said that he wants peace. Zelensky, I said, the press is going to spin it their way. I didn't put my different sides on this and everything else. Because different sides, they're on here and everything. He wants peace. He just doesn't want to keep doing the same thing where each peace agreement that he's made with Russia, ceasefire, has been broken. From a pathological liar. That's what Putin is.
Europeans are ready for contingents. They need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will not never have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans.
So that's the question. Is it Europe that fills that gap? Does he have to come crawling back to President Trump to legitimately fill that gap?
Europe has now not only given more aid to Ukraine, as we know, but also promised over $130 billion yet. The United States only has $5 billion outstanding that they've promised. So we already have on the table. It's just perspective what the United States can give. And we know Speaker Johnson said he's not interested in the budget right now.
So this idea that you think it...
He said Johnson has said he does not want to give any more aid to Ukraine. He said that in CPAC, a conservative forum thing. So
it's a legitimate thought. Ukraine can get by in this, get to peace without U.S. support.
Ukraine is going to keep on defending its territory. When your ally decides to, as somebody in Ukraine mentioned, stab you in the back in the middle of a street fight, then you have to figure out what the next steps are. I think that President Trump made clear that he's still interested in signing that deal with rare earth minerals. I still think we're far away.
It's not going to happen. Are you guys so stupid to think that's going to happen now? That's the thing with Trump. He just wants the money with things. He just wants money. America #1 with money. And that's one thing I don't like about him, is that's all about money. And changing, trying to totally delete the Stargate psychic research program, telepathy, which we can all use. We have these abilities. And Trump wants to totally delete any knowledge about that and have an AI Stargate program where, humans are pretty much run by computation, bots, artificial intelligence, which has destroyed tens of thousands of jobs AI has.
Away from the G7 summit and the NATO summit and finding out what's happening. But Ukraine is going ahead. What we know on the table right now is that the United States has not even promised as much as Europe right now. So we'll see who actually starts giving more aid in the coming year.
Thanks so much for watching. Just good.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah. All right. that's pretty much it. I think I've done pretty much enough. If anybody comes along likes or anything, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me what you think, because there's a lot of different. Oh boy.
Well, I want to show this photo that the pool captured of the Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S., her hands in her head, watching this exchange go down. Tom Sufi Burridge, your reaction to that image and to what world leaders are undoubtedly thinking as they've watched this go down today, too.
Well, I think, Elizabeth, that is exactly the reaction which European officials right across this continent will be feeling when they watch that bombshell moment play out in the Oval Office. I mean, none of us saw it coming. The combative nature, the accusations, the body language, the pointing, the animosity was just palpable throughout it all. And, while European leaders and European officials are kind of, just literally astonished and wondering where this goes next and what this means for Ukraine and European security. In the Kremlin right now, they are literally on cloud nine. I mean, they could never have written the script for this themselves. I mean,
the Russians, let me tell you, they're selling seats for this stuff. I mean, they got hotcakes on special right now. They have Ukraine roasting on an open fire right now, singing songs in the Politburo and everything. So
the idea that Trump is saying, in that social media statement after that Zelensky doesn't want peace. I mean, that is a line that the Kremlin would have written themselves. I know a lot of Ukrainians I've met. Many of them. I've lived in the country for years.
I think he said that wrong. You have a different language, using a different language, you don't say things right. Like I said, what he's talking about is because of all the ceasefires that Putin has broken. That's why. If anything, he'd want an international force like NATO or something, which Russia doesn't want. They want to keep coming back until they got all the territory. He wants their satellite Baltic states too, as well.
Pretty much every Ukrainian I know wants peace, but they don't want peace on any terms because that's what happened post 2014, and then Russia invaded in 2022. And actually, that seems to be the kind of the crunch point where things really kicked off in the meeting is where J.D. Vance kind of went in to kind of back up the president on why President Trump is playing a kind of neutral game in between Russia and Ukraine to try and broker a deal. And then Zelensky kind of questioned what diplomacy J.D. Vance was talking about. And that really seemed to rile J.D. Vance. And it went off from there. And then there were comments from Zelensky about, maybe the U.S. feeling the repercussions of this in the future. And then President Trump absolutely hated that. And then from then on, it was really the president and the vice president really kind of ganging up on the Ukrainian president. And really, he got very few words in from there on, and it was really, a number of talking points once again that the Russians would have written. The idea that, the Trump administration, the president and the vice president were bringing all of Ukraine's problems. Like, Ukraine does have manpower problems in terms of recruiting enough soldiers to get to the front lines right now. But the idea that the US government in a meeting like that in front of the world's TV cameras was bringing that up, saying you have big problems, you're playing with the lives of billions of people, you're gambling.
And that's wrong how he made him to look to be a bad guy when Putin, this is totally done by Putin that invaded in the first place. And Putin has done bad things. Why are you calling the Russians out as well? You say, I could attack this. He said, I'm not going to attack somebody. But he attacked Zelensky quite a bit, within the past week. So, I mean, it's very hypocritical of Trump to say that he's trying to play diplomat when he hasn't been. With
World War III, absolutely unbelievable.
Right. Oh no, Putin's just had the time of his life. He is on cloud nine. Ooh, let's see. Putin.
Mr. President, is there no deal? Mr. President, can you tell us what happened? Is the deal off? President Zelensky, can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, he's. He just like leave the country. I wouldn't have even gone to that meeting. I knew it was a waste, a whole waste for the get-go.
Did you sign the minerals deal?
God, that's a dumb question. Of course not.
Did you sign the minerals deal? Why were you so disrespectful to the president?
I mean, do you think Zelensky would be done? That's stupid. That's a pretty dumb question. And this is what Zelensky and others, the realization is that Trump just wants the money. He just wants the money. He doesn't care about what goes on there. I mean, you know, it's the money. Money. Well, it'd be a win to put under his belt. He'd say, I made peace with Israel, I made peace with this. You know, it's all me. It's all me. And stuff like that. And everything. Yeah. Well, I want to see if they had a camera on it. That's too bad. All right. That's it. Here it comes. These. Leave a comment. Leave a like. Because everybody's gonna hate on something. Anyways.